Right, here we go. We're back, guys, and we've got a special guest with us today. We've got Enoch Showunmi joining us. So, massive thank you, Enoch, coming from across the pond to join us tonight, mate. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Enoch.
You're welcome, guys. It's afternoon for me, so it's all good.
What is the time there, out of interest?
3 p.m., just after 3.
Oh, decent. That works out all right then. Right, well, let's get going, mate. Before we sort of get into talking about your career, I want to run through a couple of quick questions just to sort of get to know you a bit better. So, first one is, who was your childhood hero?
Probably like Johnny Barnes, probably early in my childhood. And then as I got to my kind of teenage years, it was kind of like Brazilian Ronaldo. He was just like unbelievable watching him.
The Ronaldo.
Yeah, the Ronaldo, the original, unbelievable.
He was something that he's just like a 1 in a million, isn't he? That player, he was something else, Ronaldo.
Yeah, and you see some like you see some of the highlights now, and you just think it's actually unbelievable to do with the ball.
It's crazy.
Like how strong he was as well. How strong he was as a player, just barging people off the ball, putting it through their legs. Like the footwork was unbelievable.
The physical strength as well as the speed of thought was just something else. Like, I mean, you think he went to Barcelona at 18, scored like 20 odd goals. Different.
Yeah. I remember like later on in his career, at Real Madrid, he's obviously got a bit of a belly, like a lot of the Brazilians do. and then it's just like, you don't need to be that fit when you're that good. I remember him scoring a hat-trick at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that. I'll never ever forget that game. He was at least 2 stone overweight. And their record there was a joke. Like, no one could beat them. And he was fat and he's ruined them. It was unreal. And Terry being a Leeds fan, that must have been like Christmas break. Like,
unbelievable. Yeah, it was the best thing ever. I loved the guy anyway, but when he done that, it was like, oh yeah, that's it. He's secured as a legend. He was different class. The next one is, what's your worst habit?
Worst habit? Probably procrastinating. Like I like sleeping every now and again, you know.
I'll take that one. I'm a fan of a nap, mate. There's nothing wrong with that. Next one is, we touched on this actually before we started recording, but what's your favourite food?
Favourite food? Definitely as a cuisine, Italian. Obviously, I have to say that because my wife's Italian. I'm from Sicily, so she'll chop my balls off if I didn't say it. But like my family's obviously Nigerian, so like it's like the Nigerian food, like the jollof rice and that as well is top. Yeah,
I'm a fan of that as well.
There's a thing in London, or a thing I've seen, like there's like a jollof war between like the different places in Africa. Can you try and explain to me what the difference is between jollof in one place and another? Because I'm genuinely dumbfounded. I've seen people arguing about it online.
They proper row, didn't they?
Yeah.
Try and explain it.
It's just the way it's cooked. It's just the way it's cooked. And it's like, people have like, you have the little Nigerian flavor, you have the Ghanaian. It's like, it's the dishes overall the same. It's like getting a lasagna from Italy or getting it from like an Italian place that's run by an English guy in London, you know? Yeah. So it's just like how it's cooked, and like but it's like there's literally wars. Like we don't get along. We do not get along.
The passion of food, eh?
Yeah.
Fair play.
Which football team do you support, or did you support before you started playing?
Growing.
Sorry, mate, we lost you there.
Cut off there.
Growing up, Liverpool.
Liverpool. Oh wow. Still Liverpool, or I see you rocking your Leeds shirt. So have you transitioned over, or?
Of course, there's always going to be support for Leeds. Good results, and obviously they had a great back in the Premier League. Like Bielsa's action, like was like probably 75-80% of that squad like came up from the Championship. Yeah. Unbelievable season in the Premier League, and I think they can go again.
Yeah, I do as well. We Well, I chew the boys' ears off all the time about it on our podcast because the guy is just an absolute legend. What he's done with that team is a miracle, really. And now we're going to go again, like getting players of a better caliber already. When he improves them, they're going to be something else. Look at what he's done with Calvin Phillips. The guy's now bossing it for England. Do you know what I mean? And he was a mid-table championship player.
Yeah. He had a great game the other day, I have to say. I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah, he was immense. And the last one before
I played against.
Yeah, go on.
And I was saying I played against like the likes of like Luke Ayling as well, and just like obviously he's come through all the divisions and stuff, and he's like absolutely done great in the Premier League with Leeds and like skipper in the team as well. So fair play to him.
Yeah, no, Luke Ayling's been immense as well. To be fair, he's another one. He's probably quite unlucky that we're so inundated with really good right backs as well, England, because most other nations, he's nicking a call up for the Euros the way he performed this year.
No, 100%. He must be looking back in his.
There must be some Scottish there somewhere, Matty, to get him involved in your boys' team, isn't there?
Well, after the right back's performance today, I think fucking hell, I might ring him and ask him if we can get him on. There's hope.
And then the last one before we chat about your career, mate, is Marmite. Love it or hate it?
Hate it. Disgusting. Can't even take the smell.
We've got we've got a mixed bag on here with responses. At first, every player we interviewed was all loving it, and then we've had a few trickled in of the haters. So yeah,
I can't even take the smell.
Really?
Wow.
I love that. The best one was Seb Carroll, who used to play for Leeds. We had he'd never even heard of it, so we got him to try it, and he videoed his first time trying Marmite, and we've got it on our YouTube channel. It was absolutely hilarious, mate. His reaction, he didn't know what was going on.
Yeah,
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I'll send you the link over afterwards. It is funny, mate. Right, the first one is obviously you're over in the States now, living in Florida. How did that come about, and what are you doing over there, mate?
So just as I kind of, I don't think I've officially retired yet, but just as I kind of stopped playing, I met my wife now in London, and then we were just kind of, for the first year or so, we're just kind of flying back and forth. And then we're just like, listen, we got to make a decision, right? It's like, it's either we go all in or we just call it quits. And it was kind of hot in London. It was December, you know, so I kind of flew to Miami. Then I just didn't come back. So that's how it kind of ended up in United. And then overall, just been like had a couple of years of kind of enjoying my life, enjoying retirement, enjoying not playing and busting my body, like in pre-seasons and stuff like that. And then afterwards, it's like, damn, you know what? Maybe I need to work now. So got a program actually with Leeds Utd. I was telling Matt the other earlier. So we have like a college program which is called the Carnegie International Soccer Academy, which is linked with Leeds Beckett University and Leeds United FC. So we get college students to come over, get high-level training, plus the education as well. So there's a lot of American kids you're going to be seeing floating around Leeds pretty soon. That's
brilliant, mate. See, that's stuff you don't even really would hear about over here. They keep that sort of stuff under wraps, don't they? But that's yeah, that's exciting to know because it's a big market. It's a growing market as well.
I think in America as well, the football is on the up and up and up. I think progressively as a nation, they're getting a lot better, producing a lot more top quality players like, you know, Pulisic, Reina, to name a couple. They're going in the right direction, especially with the access they have to training and facilities where you are.
Facilities is insane in America. It's like I've seen high schools better than pro clubs I've been at. It's like insane. But their whole thing in America is like, to go college is the route to go pro in all sports. So it's like, and then I saw kind of like in the US, they had like the actual soccer season's only 3 months. So we kind of came back to Leeds and Leeds Beckett University and said, listen, I think you're kind of missing a trick here. They like to pay for soccer because it's kind of an elite sport in America. And then it's let's bring them over, get them full training, and then who knows their path after that, right? It's can they go back? Can they get a contract in the MLS or the USL out back in America after the degree?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? That we actually, touching on the facilities, one of our pals, he's a strength and conditioning coach with footballers and professional boxers, and we recently had him on. He was out in the States training Billy Joe Saunders for his fight against Canelo, and he said when they were based out in the States for 2 or 3 months or whatever it was, just up the road there was just a low level kids football sort of pitches and whatever, and a bit of a setup. He said they used to go and they couldn't believe the facilities. He said they had like a couple of 3G pitches, 4G pitches, perfectly cut grass pitches, a stand, everything. He said it was better than most clubs over here. And it's kids.
We have it here where I'm at now in Naples, Florida. The county just spent 50 million on a whole new complex. There's gonna be 10 soccer fields. There's a stadium that can host up to 5,000 people, scoreboard and everything. And it's youth or amateur soccer playing there.
Wow. You can only succeed
even in semi-pro clubs here, they don't have that. Even when you look at, even just for using Sutton United as an example, they just got promoted to the Football League. But they're probably going to have to leave Gander Green Lane because the facilities aren't up to standard. And I don't know if you've ever been to Sutton United or ever played there, but it's quite average, wouldn't you say, for a non-league club that's now become a league club. So yeah,
did
you hear stuff like that, it's crazy.
Did you hear about Whiteleaf today?
No.
So Whiteleaf, excuse me,
another
semi-pro club. They've had to pull out of the leagues because
the ground's not up to standard.
No, someone bought the ground, some property developer, and it's basically gone, well, we're just gonna make this something else, and they're homeless, so they've got no pitch.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. They've been there I think 60 or 70 years.
I was just about to say, it's not like they've been there 5 minutes. They've got an actual history there.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Money talks, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and that's the difference, I suppose, with how it is here, really, isn't it? It's crazy.
And out here in the US, you'll see clubs just pop up out of nowhere, and then in 2 years they're gone. The whole Miami and Florida, it's they'll be pro clubs. They'll be in the USL, they'll be there a couple of years, and then all of a sudden they don't exist anymore. It's insane.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's such a strange difference.
I suppose having to find a model that's sustainable and something that's actually profitable, where a property developer could come along, look at it and think, if I build flats on this or a hotel, I'm going to make an absolute fortune. Especially out there with the surroundings, the scenery, the way of life. It's just an instant money maker, isn't it? So
yeah.
Yeah.
So I see you started your career a bit late in the professional game. Was it 21 you joined Luton?
21.
So I hear through the grapevine that your dad basically said you've got to go through education first, and he was proven right when you basically told him that ain't how it works here. You've got to get into football earlier. But he was proven right, mate. You was the lucky one, I take it. Get your education and then into footy.
Yeah, but I was never at a professional club in my youth at all. So it's not like I had choices. It's not like I was saying, well, here, West Ham offering me contracts. I didn't have real choices in that. So obviously he was right, but pro club and train even at that age group. I remember 18, I went to Luton Town. I think Ricky Hill was the gaffer. And I knew Ricky Hill because I was playing at Wilson Constantine, and he was an ambassador for the club. And Wilson Constantine in London is 11th tier Middlesex County League. You're putting up the nets, you're putting up the goals, all that kind of stuff. You're paying the referee on subs, all that kind of stuff. And so he invited me over. I had already applied for university. So after a couple of weeks, I was to them, listen, I can't do both. Can you let me know my situation? And they were go check out. So I just went to university. I was okay, they don't want me, let me go to university. And then 3 years down, I'm come back, new gaffer, Mike New's the gaffer. I have a game against them in pre-season. Just a week after I graduated, had a game against them. I'm playing centre midfield, and the guys are come back and come on trial after the game, and I was like, I played terrible in this game. Like I literally was kicking the board saying like I played so bad, and but my agent was just like, no, they want you to come on trial. You're the only player they asked to come back out of like 16 or 17 players that was in that game. And then so I come into training, and then there was like, listen, you're an athlete. You got back and forth from midfield, box to box quickly. And then they converted me into a striker, and then I literally had to learn how to play striker as a pro. And then I think I made my debut. So I joined them in July 2003. I made my debut in September, Plymouth away, League One, and I got dragged after 40 minutes because it was like too quick for me. And then I was like, this is not. From London to Luton on £40 a week expenses, and then I'm playing in the first team, traveling up and down the country.
Yeah, because they was in administration, weren't they, when they signed you?
Yeah.
So what was they only covering your expenses then?
Yeah, first like 6 weeks they were like, nope, it's your opportunity, take it or leave it. And then afterwards it was like, we're gonna cover your train fare from London to Luton. And like, so my dad used to be an engineer on the railways, so I used to get a cheaper ticket. So I was like, nah, it's like I'm gonna get like £4 a day. Like this is like, it's not even worth it. So I used to dot an 8 out of the 4 on the ticket, scrunch it up and say that's how much I'm paying every day. So I got double the money.
Smart man.
I love that. The entrepreneur in you, mate.
Yeah.
That's superb. And then I was looking through sort of like the goals and that you got in your first year. You ended up bagging a hat-trick against Brentford in February of 2004. Is that what sort of spurred them to get you on a contract then?
Yeah, so I think there was a few suspensions and a few injuries at the time in February, and then I remember scoring my first league goal, and then I kind of just took off from there. And then the next game I got ML.
We've lost you, I think, Enoch. I don't know what's.
And a trophy for man of the match, and I'm walking back to the station with my mates, with my boot bag and a bottle of champagne and a trophy. Literally just walking back to the station. So like fans used to holler me saying, "Come to the pub with us." I used to go to the pub and have a drink with the fans after a game.
Quality.
And then did you?
Yeah, I used to go have a drink with the fans after the game. And then afterwards I had a drink with them. Then we used to just walk back to the station, jump on train, and go home. And then the hat trick was like after that. And then
this stream is poor, isn't it?
Oh man, we're having a bit of trouble with your connection.
To my house to interview me, all of that kind of stuff. And oh yeah.
Yeah, the connection keeps freezing, Enoch.
It's sort of it's okay for like a minute or so, and then it just freezes up, and we don't get any sound. Is that what's happening to you, Matty?
Yeah, I'm hearing the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, pause it, and then I'm just gonna go to another area and see if the Wi-Fi is better.
Okay, mate.
Cool.
All right. Cool.
This looks a bit better, Enoch, because when you were talking before, your screen was freezing. We could still hear you for a bit, but it would cut out and cut back in.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this is better. I'm in the house rather than the office.
Yeah, it does actually. It's a bit smoother now.
Perfect.
Nice.
I want to go back to your story about in the pub with the fans. I was getting on that.
Right, yeah. So we'll join you again there, mate. So we were saying that like back with going for a drink with the fans after the game. Because obviously you had a bit of a connection problem there, but we're back now. So if you pick us up from there, mate.
Yeah, so they used to like see me obviously walking to the station, and they used to holler me on the streets and be like, "Enoch, like have a drink with us, come have a drink with us." Wow. And they were also explaining to me like, yeah, we got some guys from the firm coming out of prison, they're gonna be back, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, shit, who am I having a drink with? Like and like these guys, like, they really boosted me at the time. So like so I did, like, obviously I'm on expenses at the time, and it was just like, for me, it was just like, I was just a normal guy, just wanting to play football. And these guys were just hollering me and like recognizing me on the train. I used to get like people recognizing me on the train. I remember like a little Luton fan was like, "Are you Enoch? Are you Enoch?" And I was like, "No, he's way bigger than me." And like just stuff like that. And I'll see them in the stands, like supporting the club in games. And it's like, you remember me on the trade and stuff like that. So
that's brilliant.
You must have had like a instant connection with the fans after that, like going for a drink with them and all that. That's quite unusual for that to happen. I mean, it's fair play. It's the sort of thing I would do, to be honest. But it must have been unusual for them.
Yeah, I think like obviously I didn't really grow up in professional football, so I never had that whole stardom type thing. And I was like still after £40 a week expenses. So it was like for me, it was just like I was one of them. Like I'm just trying to make it. You're a fan in the stadium. I'm just trying to make it as a pro.
I hope they paid for your drinks, mate. I hope you weren't shelling out.
Yeah.
They paid for the drinks. They all knew the story. It was funny because like even before I did anything at Luton, there was this whole thing called Enoch's Army, a little website like kind of like tongue in cheek, take the piss type thing. And yeah, so they built this whole thing. I remember one of the guys, he was like, because the day I scored my first league goal, I missed an easier chance early in the game. Like literally, I was 2 yards out. I just wanted to smash it to like announce myself. I think the ball went backwards, stuff like that. And then he was like on the website, he's like, he ripped up the ticket, but he showed he like taped it back together after I scored the winner in the game. So like it was just stuff like that was happening, and I was like, for me, it was all surreal. But that was like kind of my start to being a pro, and then like from then it just kind of skyrocketed. I scored a hat trick, and then like Sky Sports came to my house to interview me in London. Then I was like in all the national newspapers, like saying I'm paying for expenses. And I was like, I just want to like give it a go, see where it takes me, and then that's when they signed me on my pro contract after the hat trick.
It's a great
story. That. You don't hear enough stories of that, especially nowadays. Them kind of like rags to riches type stories with football. Mm-hmm. I love it. It's brilliant.
The days of that are gone in the modern game, because if you're much different to your path, if kids are getting picked up at like 7, 8, 9, our media are sniffing that out in like 20 minutes if he's a whatever the story is. But yeah, the fact that you started, which was late in your career, and you managed to get where you got to, is a great story.
It is.
Yeah, and now there's like, obviously it was just before social media.
Yeah.
And now like now there would just be like everything just be on social media. Like before, like I even got a chance to even play, like literally.
Yeah.
You'd have been out of contract as soon as you went for a beer nowadays, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would have. 100%.
Probably, yeah.
Do that now. No chance.
Nah, 100%.
Gaffer would have found out like 20 minutes later. As soon as you were in the pub, someone would have grasped you up.
All over Twitter. And then, so that season, you ended up finishing 10th in the league, and then getting called up for Nigerian national team that early on. What was that like? How did that come about?
That was insane. I think I must have done an interview somewhere where I said like if I ever play international football, I play for Nigeria, like the country of my parents' birth. And yeah, that summer, I don't know how, I don't know why, I don't know who made some phone calls on my behalf, but like they called me up, and they was like, because they were playing in London, and so like I go thinking I'm not even gonna play at all. So I didn't even bring shin pads or nothing. I just came with my boots, jumped on a train again across London. Then I see that Obafemi Martins walking through the door, see Ole Pinjana, who was at Wolves at the time, walking through the door, John Utaka, who was at Portsmouth, walking through the door, and the Carnus and the Okochas, and it's like, what am I doing here?
I mean, Okocha, he was a joke. I'll never forget what he did to Ray Parlour.
Oh, mate, Rainbow.
He chipped it over his head. I think I rewound it about 40 times just to realise, like, how is that possible in a Premier League game? Like, he took the piss out of a seasoned pro. Like, he took the piss out of me. Like, unbelievable.
He was phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just didn't play for the top teams.
I don't know how though. I don't know how he didn't.
Yeah. And it was just like he was at PSG with Ronaldinho, so imagine them two in the same team.
Arteta played for them then as well, didn't he? I think Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Imagine how good that must have been, watching them two play together.
Yeah, it must have been a lot of fun. Of fun.
Incredible. What were they like, sort of, towards you as well? Because obviously they were big stars. Were they quite welcoming? And
Yeah, they were all cool. Like Okocha and Kanu didn't play, so they kind of just flew to Nigeria after a day or so, and they went for the World Cup qualifiers. So they just flew to Nigeria, so they didn't play. But the other guys, Obafemi Martins was making his debut, like the most humble guy. They were like, "Oh, you should have told us. We would have picked you up from the airport because you just jumped in a taxi." And I was like, "Hold on a minute, no one offered me a taxi." I was like, "I jumped on a train myself, like to get here." But like it was cool, and but yeah, they were all welcoming. It was like cool. It was like a just a fun atmosphere. And me being so naive about like football at the time is like I didn't even know you get paid for international football. I thought it was just for pride.
Yeah.
And then our first meeting was just like talking about money. I was like, oh shit, am I going to get paid here? Like so it was like I was shocked that it actually international football you actually get paid as well.
To be honest, I didn't know like they got paid, especially back then. I know they do now, but I didn't think back then they did.
Yeah, and it was like 2 friendlies against Ireland and Jamaica as well. So it was just like I was like, oh wow, and then it's like there's a big discussion about the funds and how much it's going to be shared, blah blah blah. And they said go to the secretary's room and he's going to pay you. So I'm thinking he's going to hand me a check. Man just had like $100 bills in a bag, and it's just like, there you go. Wow. So I was just like, quality. I was like, what is happening right now? I was like, okay, but this is tax free, so that's cool.
No money in the account, just pure notes.
That explains all the international friendlies, though, doesn't it?
It does. It does, 100%.
Oh, mate, that's brilliant. And then the following year, with Luton, went up as champions under Mike Newell. Was Steve Howard playing up front with you then as well?
Yeah, Steve Howard was Mike Newell's like he loved him, absolutely loved him. But he was a great striker. I learned a lot from him because obviously I'm like 6'5". I grew up playing 5-a-side football in London, mainly 5-a-side, and then obviously the occasional 11-a-side playing centre midfield. They converted me to a striker, and I'm like, but I don't head the ball. I'm 6'5", but I played all 5-a-side football on the head height.
Waist height.
I don't head the ball. Like
you're kicking it off the board.
Exactly. It's like, this is not my game. I was like, let's do 1-2s, let's do some tricks. I grew up just playing street football, so I learned how to use my feet a lot. And so obviously Mike Newell loved Steve Howard, like loved him. He pretty much, he said he's like the closest thing to Alan Shearer outside the Premier League at the time.
Wow. So
that's how highly he rated Steve Howard. And obviously Steve Howard went on to play in the Premier League and stuff like that. But so yeah, I just at the time I was just like, okay, I'm not playing, so let me just look at this guy. He plays him every week if he's fit or coming back from suspension, he plays. So let me just kind of look at him and see if I can add elements of what he can to my game. And that's where it's like, as my career went on, I actually just literally became a target man by the end of my career, when it's like that was never my game in the beginning.
It's weird that, because I only really remember you as a centre forward. So when I done a bit of research and I see you was a central midfielder and you also played in defence as well, I was like quite surprised, because I don't actually remember you ever playing there. Like it was just
No, by the time I got to Leeds, it was like I was more settled as a striker. So when I was at Luton and Bristol City, I kind of played in every single position of the forward positions. I played left wing back, left midfield, right midfield, centre midfield. I played 12 games in the Championship, centre midfield for Luton.
That's crazy, man.
And then
man. You ain't played in goal, have you?
No, I haven't played in goal. But the crazy thing is, right, so I'm at Luton in my 3rd season, and obviously we got promoted the season before, and like so the gaffer's like obviously he brought in a couple of players. We had Steve Howard that was still playing, doing well. So I'm playing resi games, and I'm just getting used to like playing as a striker. So I've scored like 17 goals in about 11 resi games. And then like he's like, the manager comes up to me, he's like, oh, you worked hard, you've done well, this is your chance. And I was like, cool, we're playing Wolves away, Championship, Huddleston and Port Ince in the centre midfield. And he's like, you're playing centre mid. I'm like, but I just spent the whole last 2 years learning how to play striker, and now you're putting me back in centre midfield, which was my original position. And but yeah, he goes, don't worry, Paul Ince, he's 38, he can't run anymore, blah, blah, blah. This guy was just up and down. We were just like chasing each other the whole game, like me and Paul Ince. It was just insane. And then, but yeah, it's like kind of 12 games I played centre mid for Luton in the Championship.
It's mental, isn't it? What was your favourite position to play while we were on that?
If you had a choice.
Yeah.
Probably centre mid. I was more like like growing up playing, obviously I started at the back because I was the biggest, and then I used to give like one of my school teachers a heart attack. I used to do tricks and meg people in the edge of my box because I found centre back boring, because it was just like I was quicker than most players and kind of stronger than most players at my age group. So I found it kind of boring. So I used to do crazy things in my own area. So he's like, no, you're going to move to centre midfield and just get on the ball and do your things further up the field. And so like I always preferred playing centre mid, but it was always about like assisting rather than scoring. So I never really even though I played striker, I never really had a striker's instinct at all. It was never embedded in me from young. So that was probably my favorite position, was kind of playing in midfield.
Yeah, that's quality. And then, like you said, ended up getting promoted up to the Championship. You finished 10th, solid in the Championship, first season up there. Then you end up moving on to Bristol City. You finished second top scorer despite not being a regular starter in your first season there. Who was was Lee Trundle there at that time as well at Bristol City?
No, he came my second year there.
Oh, did he come then? Yeah, because I was trying to figure out who would have been sort of the starting strikers at Bristol City.
So I started that season. I kind of started every time I was fit. I think it was probably in my first year as a pro that I played in most games that I was fit, and I think it just took a toll on my body. So I just used to pick up little small injuries, be out for a couple of weeks, come in, play another 5 games, be out for a couple of weeks and stuff like that. So I think like that first season at Bristol, I played quite a few games. So yeah, it was just like my body getting used to like literally playing him. And that's one of the reasons I left Luton, because Luton offered me a new contract. And I just said, you know what, I'm on the bench all the time. You don't play me and every time Steve Howard was injured or another striker was injured, he would, like, especially his second season as a pro, he would play me, I would score, and then he would drop me to the bench as soon as they were back. And I was like, so you don't have the trust in me, or that's your favorite, and I can't break that.
Yeah.
I actually left Luton. I went to Bristol and thought, okay, I spoke to the manager beforehand, and I said it was Gary Johnson. I was like, listen, this is me. This is what I want to do. Want to play. Just want a fair crack at the whip, not like favorites or anything like that. And I played every time I was fit, and I ended up being second top goal scorer, and I had a lot of assists that year. And that year, obviously, we got promoted as well.
Yeah. I see. Then it was because you ended up coming on and moving to Leeds United, but before that happened, you was in discussions with Leeds in January of 2008, and the move got quite close.
Mm-hmm. Well,
why did it not happen then?
It wasn't close. It was so basically I played a game for Bristol City on a Saturday, Crystal Palace away, and we lose 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
On the Wednesday, I'm in my house in Bristol, and I'm thinking, I need to paint, I need to do some stuff to the house, let me change this, because I think I may be here for a long time. I get a call from the club, not the manager. I get a call from the club, the secretary, saying, you are not part of the plans anymore, you should go. And I was like, hold on a minute, I played 3 days ago. I actually started, not like I was on the bench, I started 3 days ago. And then then all these things start happening, and like Leeds United are calling me, and then it's like, and I was like, you know what, this is my second hit at the Championship. I really want to stay in the Championship. Leeds is in League One. This is my second hit in the Championship. I actually started playing. I came back from injury and I started playing well. So I scored a couple of goals for Bristol, and then all of a sudden they just like January came and it's like, you're not part of the plans. So the next day I go into train. I think Dennis Wise was the gaffer at Leeds at the time, right? And so he calls me, and I said, listen, Dennis, like I'm flattered. Like Leeds is a huge club, but I really want to stay in the Championship right now. I'm 6 months like out of contract. Let me just see where the Championship takes me. So I go into training the next day. I switch my phone off because everyone's blowing up my phone. I go into training the next day. The gaffer comes up to me, goes, "You going up north?" And I was like, "No, I'm going to stay and fight for my place." He's like, "You're mad." And then goes, and then he's like, go train with the youth team. So I was like, damn, this guy, this is like, okay, so this is how it is. All right, cool. And so
sorry to cut in there. You've gone from starting 3 days prior, and then they're telling you to train with the youth team. Did they not give you any reason about this?
There was no reason.
I don't get that. That's ridiculous.
There's zero reasons.
But this seems to be quite a common theme in football from the fellas that we've had on. 1 minute 100%. You're flavour of the month, and next minute you're nothing.
Out the door. And usually it's like if there's a change of manager, okay. But it wasn't even a change of manager. It was
it's the same setup.
Same setup. Isn't it?
That's ridiculous. Yeah. You must have been thinking like, what is going on here? This is poor.
Yeah, and so and then everyone in the club is like saying, listen, don't bite off your nose to spite your face. Leeds is a huge club, blah blah blah. And I was like, nah, it's cool. 2 days later, Dennis Wise goes to Newcastle as technical director. 2 days after he calls me, he must have known that was in the works. So it didn't even make sense to me. So after they find out Dennis Wise actually leaves as manager of Leeds to go to Newcastle,
you're thinking you're going up to Newcastle.
That's the
like all the players was like, oh, you must be blessed because like you made the right decision. And then so I'm going to Gary Johnson. Listen, like I'm not going to go League One right now. If you want me to leave, I'll go to another Championship club, even on loan to the end of the season or whatever. And he's like, no, you only can go League One. You're not going to go to our rivals. Then I end up towards the end of the month, I end up going Sheffield Wednesday. And these times, like Gary Johnson was saying to me, you will never play for Bristol City again. I was like, all right, cool.
So still no explanation. He's just
still no explanation. No, just bin me off. Like there's no explanation. Obviously, like when you look at it, he's like, okay, he wants to bring in another striker. Maybe there's like money issues, all that kind of stuff. So the chairman might say to him, you have to get rid of one player if you want to bring in another player.
Why can't they just be honest with you and say, this is how it is? Like,
managers don't do that. It's a thing. Yeah, it's a thing with managers that they don't do that.
They're hiding behind the real scenario. They've obviously been told to get rid of you to create finances or to create space or something.
Yeah, but they can get rid of. Obviously, they can look at any player to get rid of. But obviously, they want another. If they wanted another striker, then it's like, okay, striker for a striker type thing. But it's like I always said to managers, just be honest. I'm a man. You're a man. I'm cool. I can handle it. It's fine. It's like in the sport, like just coming into pro sports, you see it. Even before social media, you see it. Like every single week, you are being criticized for your performances, or you're being praised. So it's like, okay, I've been doing this for 3-4 years now, and it's like, okay, I'm used to this now. It's like I play well, I get praised. I don't play well, I get criticized. I get it. It's the cycle. It doesn't really affect me so much. I'm pretty level-headed either way. If I win and I score, I'm calm. If I lose and I don't score and I don't play well, I'm still kind of pretty much in the middle. But you get some guys who are just like over emotional when they do well and over emotional when they do poorly. But I was kind of like centered. Just normal, and it's just like for me, it was just a ride. For me, I was just on a ride. That I came into the game at 21, played for Nigeria in like under a year of playing a pro, and then and now I'm just like got promoted again, back in the Champions. I was just on a ride for like the first 3-4 years of my career. So nothing really affected me in terms of like playing. I'm just going to enjoy it. If I play well, it does. I'm going to obviously try to do my best every game, run as much as I can, work hard for the team. And then see what happens with the rest of with my career and all that kind of stuff. And then so I end up going to Sheffield Wednesday on loan. First 3 home games I get MOM, but I don't score. So fans, I think they're towards the bottom of the table. Fans are getting a bit antsy. They're saying, oh, like he can't play because he didn't score no goals. But even though I was voted man of the match for for a couple of the home games. So then after 5 games at Sheffield Wednesday, the gaffer drops me to the bench. And so so the next 5 games, I just kind of come off the bench for like 10 minutes and stuff like that. So I just said, they wanted to renew it. And I said, no, I'm going back to Bristol. I'm just going to like sit out the season and see my options in the summer. Now, Bristol were close to the playoffs, right? At the time. I go back to Bristol and I score 5 in 2 Resi games. And then the assistant manager calls me, goes, oh yeah, so we're thinking of putting you back on the bench for the last couple of games of the season, after they said they'll never play me again. In January, and then the last two games of the season, I come off the bench, I play 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is, and then for the playoffs, the semis and the final, I got pied off again. Like, and then obviously
I've got my head in my hands for you. I just can't believe what I'm hearing.
The game's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's mad because it's like fans don't see it. So fans, like football's like the emotion of
proper
like that. Yeah. And then it's like you're dealing with all this stuff, and then it's like in the background, and then it's just like now I speak about it obviously years later. It's like it's funny to me because most of it is just stupid. It's like
absolutely.
It's some of it is just like even childish. I had managers not speak to me for 3 weeks and stuff like this because I got injured. and I just do stupid shit like that. And I'm like, but you're a kid. Like, I can't, like, I can't deal with I'm not dealing with a 5-year-old. You're actually my manager. You can affect my career, and you're acting like a baby. It doesn't make no sense.
Your story, what I'm listening to, I listened to another podcast about Sean Davis, you know, he used to play centre midfield for Fulham. And he was saying how Martin Jol just weren't having him one bit, to the point where he would still call him to go training, make him think that he was playing for the first team, and then send him away with the youth team. And there was this one day, because he's from Battersea, I'm from a place called Roehampton, which ain't far from Battersea.
Yeah.
So like it's like kind of localish. And it was his birthday. He had no intention of picking him, made him travel, didn't even get off the bench. So when after the game, he went into the hotel bar and he got caught drinking by Jol, and he never played for Spurs ever again, or something along them lines. He literally made his life hell. He hated him. It's mental.
Well, we spoke to your mate Leon Constantine about a month ago, and the amount of occasions where this sort of thing happened to him as well was just ridiculous. And like Matty said, the amount of footballers we've spoken to and it's a common occurrence that this sort of stuff happens, and they're sort of sitting there thinking, what have I done here to warrant this? Like, it's.
But you can see, if someone's not as level-headed as you, Enoch, you take the Joey Bartons of this world and whatever, people that are going to speak their mind, probably Terry as well. I mean, you imagine like when they say one thing, they get painted out in the media to be this monster, when the truth is, they probably just want to be told the truth like you. But now you're level-headed enough to keep it on a flat.
No, I think it's different though. I think like obviously they're Premier League players, so it's like they're on silly money. So it's like these managers in like League One, like lower Championship, they're affecting your livelihood. Because they go and they talk to other managers and they say he's a bad egg, he's got a bad attitude, and then you don't get signed somewhere else. So it's like it's just a different ballgame. Remember like Tevez at Man City?
Yeah.
He left for 6 months.
Yeah.
You're playing League One football. You can't leave for 6 months, like and not get paid. He's playing golf in Argentina for 6 months, like because Pep or who was it? I can't even remember the manager, but he's like he spoke to him badly.
Was it Mancini? Was it Mancini?
It may have been Mancini, yeah.
Yaya had it as well, didn't he? When they didn't get him a birthday cake and he just went,
oh yeah, I remember seeing that. He kicked right off about that, didn't he?
It's just different. It's just a different ball game.
Yeah. He was in fairness to Yaya, he was on about 220 grand a week or something like that. So I don't think that was stinging him, to be fair.
Nah, not at all.
he really wanted that that Morrison cake or something. I don't know what it is.
Calling the caterpillar cake he wanted, didn't he? He's a big fan of it. It's just
that's hilarious.
And then so you went back, you sat it out then till the end of the year at Bristol. And then what happened when the season ended then? How did the move come about?
So the second game I was at Sheffield Wednesday was against Bristol City, so I couldn't play. So the gaffer at Sheffield Wednesday was like, you can play a resi game on the Tuesday, or you could just take the week off. And I was like, you know what, let me just keep ticking over. I'll play the resi game. The resi game's against Leeds United, new manager in Gary McAllister at the time. And then it's like, so I play in that resi game and I scored 2 goals. So I get word that they were like, okay, if no one cares about this kid and he plays like that in a resi game for his loan team, imagine if you cared about him. And that's why I signed for Leeds that summer again. So they came in for me again, and I signed for Leeds in that summer. So it was just like I always tell players as well, just like even young players, I say, listen, you're self-employed. You don't know who's watching you. You don't know, like, just have a good attitude, because it's like, it's your career at the end of the day. You do things for yourself. You don't do things for the managers. Yeah. So like for me, it was just like I went to play against Leeds. I scored 2 goals in that resi game, and then again that interest kind of carried on, and I signed for Leeds that summer.
That shows your attitude and your willingness as a player, because you could have quite easily binned that off, and Leeds would have never happened if you didn't play in that resi game. So fair play to you. Imagine, like, I know the world's full of what ifs, but imagine if you didn't play that day. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I would just been out of contract, and I'd have like probably never had the
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Football really is full of them sliding doors moments, isn't it?
It is. It's crazy. It's like it is insane. I tell players like, listen, you're self-employed. You may get a paycheck from someone else or a company, but you're self-employed. Just like what you put in, you get out. So for me, it was just like, and then obviously dealing with like, I get it for some players, dealing with like managers that's treating you that way is difficult for certain players. So it can go left, and for a lot of players that drop out of the game early, it happens that they can't deal with being treated like that, being in and out of the team, managers not honest with them, then they start feeling actually maybe I'm a bad player, rather than maybe just this manager doesn't like you, but there's 100 other managers that do like you. And then and that's the attitude I had. I said, like, well, I came in the game how I came in, having thought I played bad in the game. So I thought I don't even know what managers want from players no more. Because I thought, obviously, as a kid growing up, you just think, okay, you do a couple of tricks, you put in the top corner, it goes past people, all that kind of stuff, and it's like this is what managers look for. And then like as a pro, it's like then you just see the whole different ballgame of what managers and what scouts and coaches are actually looking for in players. It's a whole different ballgame to what you think as a kid.
The thing that's even more impressive is that you had to change positions at such a rate. It's one thing being a centre midfielder in the programme, and then when they're going to, all right, mate, now you've got to go up front. It's not even remotely the same, especially with the level of quality of defender that you've got to be up against. That's even a whole new skill that you've had to learn in order to succeed. One of the good things I think for me was like I didn't know anything about League One football when I first came into the game. So it was like if I was coming up against like the Martin Keowns and these kind of guys, I may have been like a bit apprehensive. But it's like I don't even know you, so it was cool. It was cool for me. It's like I had to learn psychologically.
It helped. It helped. It helped so much.
Yeah,
it just felt like I was playing against like just players that obviously wasn't on TV, wasn't in the papers, wasn't really pro.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know who they were. Yeah. So I had to learn obviously as I got on. Is like actually, well, this guy's like came from Chelsea's youth academy, and now he's obviously playing in League One football for this and this so and so team, and he's had like an unbelievable career. And this guy's had an unbelievable career. I was like, cool. And then it's like, so as I got on, then it's like, okay, now you know the players that you're up against every single week.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that obviously can help, can't it? We spoke to a few of your ex-teammates at Leeds we've had on the podcast. We've had Leon Constantine, Seb Carroll, and Jonathan Douglas as well. And I just wanted to sort of, because I'm a Leeds United fan and I love hearing good things about the club anyway, but what was it sort of like signing for the club? Did you realise the stature of it straight away? Because from speaking to all of them, like when Leon told us he went on pre-season to Ireland, and he said pretty much the three stands of this stadium in Ireland were all Leeds fans, and he was like, what the fuck is this? And the whole airport was just packed full of Leeds fans waiting for you to arrive, and this sort of stuff. Like, did you sort of notice a complete difference with the following and the stature of the club as soon as you got there?
Yeah, 100%. You just see it, and it's obviously like you look at every city usually has like two teams, right? At least like two big teams, and Leeds is like only team in that city, and it's just like it's the stature of the club, the fan base. I remember just coming to games. I had to get to games like half an hour early because there was like there'll be 250 fans waiting for autographs 2 hours before the game, and I was like what's happening right now? Like this doesn't make sense. And like they just take you in. Like I think regardless of your ability, regardless of what you do, even on the field, the Leeds fans just take you in as part of the family. And it's like even now to this day, it's like I still get out of all the clubs I played for, Leeds fans like, and I didn't do that much at Leeds, but Leeds fans like reach out to me the most out of all the teams I played for. Obviously because of that stupid song, but
I've heard about this song. I don't know about it yet, but I get a feeling you know.
Oh mate, brilliant!
You've got to sing that at the end. I'm sorry. Yeah. No pressure or nothing, but yeah.
Oh mate, I love that. I had to sing the song for Leon when we had him on because he was like, "What? No, I don't know about this song." So I had to I had to sing it for him. But yeah, brilliant. We do have that sort of thing though, where anyone who pulls that shirt on, as long as you put a shift in, that's all we care about. Like over the years, especially like when we've been down in the likes of League One, and even when we was in the Championship the first time, we were getting all these random loan players and trialists every other week, and there's been some real shit players that have played for the club.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as they sort of have their head in the right place and they're trying to put a shift in, they'll get fully behind them. You know what I mean? It's they are sort of a bit of a one-off in that sense, really.
No, definitely saw that, and it's like even like you look at what League One, and it's like what 25,000 every single home game.
Yeah, that's
just
massive.
like it's massive. It was just insane. Like even like Bristol was a big club, Sheffield Wednesday is a big club. Bristol was getting like 17,000 in the Championship. Sheffield Wednesday wasn't. I don't think maybe they were getting up to 20s, and they closed off part of the stand. That stand would have been full. I remember the first season we got in the playoffs against Millwall.
Yeah, it was the first time he opened it up, Bates, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's like full house. Obviously, of course, against Millwall, but like still full house. Like it was just insane atmosphere.
I was going to say what, because I didn't get the chance to go to that game, but what was that atmosphere like when Becchio scored that goal in that game? Because it's sort of pretty widely regarded amongst Leeds fans as one of the loudest noises they've ever heard when that went in. What was that like?
No, for sure. It was just insane. I was obviously in the stands and that, and just supporting the boys, but it's like you're just in the stands and you're watching. I wasn't even watching the game. I was just watching the fans. And obviously Millwall and Leeds have a big off the field rivalry. But it was just insane, the atmosphere, that whole game. And and obviously like going through Becchio obviously scoring a goal, and it's just like it gives you goosebumps, even like as a player, just like being part of that, because it was loud, It was loud.
It's crazy that stadium as well. It's one of them sort of old school stadiums that can still generate a noise. But I don't think these modern stadiums have that sort. I don't know what it is with acoustics and that. They just, them old school stadiums like Ellen Road is. It just, when it's loud, it's ridiculous. It's something else, that sort of noise that they can generate in there. And then, so I had a little look through. So you scored on your Leeds debut as well against Scunthorpe.
Yeah.
What was that feeling like? Was that sort of like, I've arrived now and here I am?
It was great. Obviously, like coming in, you obviously want to hit the ground running, and obviously scoring on the debut was like and getting the win as well, and then obviously just building that relationship with the other strikers, with Jermaine. And that, so it was great to score in the debut, and then just kind of like, okay, now it's like I'm kind of moving forward and looking forward to a successful season, really.
Yeah, and then you had like a pretty random injury when you was at the club. You had a blood clot on your lung. It's really like, it's not your typical football injury. Like, sort of, how serious was that, and what were the sort of health repercussions and the recovery of that?
So it was kind of crazy. So at the time, I don't think I was playing. I think I was on the bench quite a lot. And then I remember in December, I think it was December, maybe late November, Gary McAllister puts me in the team, and we weren't doing well. The team wasn't doing well, and I wasn't really playing that much. And so he puts me in the team against Tranmere away, and I score. But we lose the game 2-1. And then the next home game, I'm on the bench again, and I'm fuming. I'm absolutely fuming, because Steve Staunton in the changing room was like, "Oh, we need more of that from you," like during that game. And I was like, "Well, you just need to play me. Like, I can't do it on the bench, and if you give me 5 minutes, I can't do it." And so the next away game, we're playing MK Dons. This is just before Christmas, so we're playing MK Dons away, and he puts me back in the team. And then we're doing shape. I think it's on a Thursday, and we're doing shape. And I start wheezing, and I'm like, don't know what's wrong, whatever. Like, but I'm starting, so I don't. Like, I was one of those players in it. I'll just, like, if I'm injured, I know I'm starting. I'm going to play. It's like no injury unless I have a broken leg is going to stop me playing. Just wrap me up, give me an injection or something, give me some painkillers, and I'm going to play. So obviously, because I wasn't playing as well, I wanted to play. So the Friday comes, and I'm still not really that well. So Gary McAllister kind of like puts me on the bench. But I travelled with the squad, and I played the last 15 minutes in that game, and I think we lost again. I think we lost 3-1. I think Di Matteo was manager of MK Dons at the time. I think we lose 3-1. So I go home to London and I see my family, because obviously Milton Keynes is close to London. So I drive down and I come back on the Sunday night. I remember that Sunday night, and I was just like I don't feel good. And like, me being me again, like, it's like I don't really go doctors, and I think I'll probably get that from my dad. So I was just like, don't feel good. I feel my heart beating through my chest. I'm feeling like listen, let me just sleep it off. So I go sleep. I wake up the next day and I go to train. I go to the physio. I say, listen, I ain't trying to take the piss, but I think I need a scan because I don't feel good. And then that's when I went to the scan, local hospital, had a CAT scan. They said I had pneumonia, and so I drove home. And then they called me back, and it's like, we're 99% certain this is a blood clot on your lungs, on your right lungs. And they said, like, it was in my thigh and it broke off. And then when a clot breaks off, it can go to your brain, it can go to your heart, and then you're finished.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. And they said, so at the time, the doctor said, like, I may never play football again.
Wow.
Because you need to be on blood thinners. It's like, you probably have to be on blood thinners for the rest of your life, and all this kind of stuff. And then every week I had to go to do blood tests. I couldn't train at all, obviously, just because I was on blood thinners, so I couldn't do no contact sport because I can get like internal bleeding and bleed out. So for like after Gary McAllister, at that point, this is just before Christmas. So Gary McAllister got sacked just before Christmas, and then Simon Grayson comes in. So Boxing Day, I come in and I say hello to Simon Grayson. I say, sorry, I'm not available for next 6 months, but looking forward to work with you at some point, yada yada. And then yes, I was just out for that rest of that whole season. But I was able to like train like by myself. So I was just doing like training by myself. And this is when I started. I actually went to Leeds Utd. I started my masters. I was like,
really?
okay, yeah, I had another 18 months on my contract, but I was just like, if I'm never going to play football again, let me just do something else, or focus on something else in the meantime.
Yeah.
So that's when I started my masters in finance at Leeds Utd. And then I was training by myself, and then obviously supporting the boys when they were playing on the weekends and stuff like that.
Jesus, man, that's fucking terrifying, isn't it?
Is this something that still affects you now, or do you still have to take medication, or is it completely gone? Or
yeah, it's completely gone. They just say like when I take long haul flights, just to like take a blood thinner for on long haul flights. So wow. That's it.
That's unbelievable, man. You to be fair, you're lucky. Like they said, it could have gone to your brain or
imagine
your heart.
You never went to the hospital when you did. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, like yeah, it was just one of the things. Like I was like, listen, I can't like this is not something I could sleep off, kind of thing. So I was kind of like, I was kind of that point. So I just went to and I was just like, listen, and it's crazy because you talk about, obviously you want to hear good things about Leeds, but at the time, so I meant to do, so they don't release this to anybody for about a month, and I'm at home and people's like, where's Enoch? What's wrong with Enoch? And their club's not saying anything. I meant to do a Q&A with Jermaine Beckford on one Tuesday night, but I don't go. And like someone asked, oh, where's Enoch? Because obviously they print Jermaine Beckford and Enoch Showunmi, blah, blah, blah. So Jermaine being Jermaine, just like, he's at home with a blood clot.
Thanks, Bex.
And so that's when it actually came out. And then you obviously see it on like Sky Sports and stuff like this. And then it actually came out that actually I'm out injured with a blood clot on my lung. But yeah, Jermaine Beckford just like, yeah, he unleashed the cat out the bag. But the club didn't want to say nothing. And there's I think who was it? Sean Harvey at the time. Used to always go to the, what's happening? I used to see him in games. He's like, Enoch, hello, cool, small talk. But never asked me, how are you? What's going on with your treatment? Da, 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 da. Then he always go to the doctor. Doctor, what's happening with Enoch? What's happening? Just ask me. I know what's happening with me because I go to the doctors every week.
Harvey, mate. Is
common sense needs to prevail somewhere along the line, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then so it's just like, but for me it's just like, okay, I'm like I said, my career is just like a ride for me, right? So it's just like, okay, if it's coming to an end, let me just focus on something else. And I guess because I worked in a sports store when I was 18, and obviously I went to university first, so I didn't have the mindset I'm going to be a professional footballer from the beginning. So I always had, okay, I'm gonna have to work at some point. So I was like, let me figure this out.
Again, it's a bit of a blessing really with that sort of sense, because most footballers are sort of, like Matty said, they're picked up quite young, and that is the be all and end all. And when they get that,
they don't have anything else to fall back on.
Exactly. When they get told that news of like it's the end, or it can be catastrophic off the field as well, because they can end up depressed, suicidal, hit the bottle. Do you know what I mean? All sorts of things. So it's good that you sort of had that, your head screwed on, and you already had the mindset of like, I'm going to end up working eventually. So yeah, that is good, mate. Just wanted to sort of touch on some of the players that was in that Leeds team as well. So you had Luciano Becchio, Jermaine Beckford, Snodgrass, Fabian Delph, Johnny Howson. At that level of football in League One, could you sort of tell that some of these players were going to go on to what they did go on to achieve, like the likes of Fabian Delph playing international football, and Robert Snodgrass as well, all in the Premier League, and Johnny Howson at a top level in the Premier League. Beckford obviously went on to Everton in the Prem. Could you sort of see that these guys had that potential?
Fabian Delph for sure. He came in 18 years old, and he was like the focal point of that team, especially under Gary McAllister. He took the whole league by the scruff of his neck at 18, and he was unbelievable. And like some of the players, Johnny Howson, great footballer. You can see he has the like technical ability to play higher level. Snodgrass with like always on that left foot, great deliveries. Like so you could see it. You could see like these players were obviously they need to get a chance, right? So most players is like you can get stuck in League One, even though you may be better you may have the ability to go and test yourself in the Premier League, but no one really takes a chance on you. But obviously these guys got their opportunity, and and they've all done great. But the team was unbelievable. It was just, as a team, it wasn't really suited for League One.
Yeah.
And Gary McAllister wanted us to play football, and we just didn't have probably more at the back than anything else. We didn't have the playmaking centre half that's like real comfortable on the ball. And then it's like League One, it's like muddy pitches, especially in the winter time. That's why footballing teams, you always see them do so well in the beginning of the season because the pitches are nice. And then as soon as the pitches get a bit muddy, a bit bobbly, it's like, and then it's like there's especially away, because I think at home we wasn't so bad, but away from home we was like we losing to teams that we shouldn't have lost under Gary McAllister. And like obviously Simon Grayson come in, and that second season he done wonders.
That must have been weird though, playing at Ellen Road, where it must have been like a carpet compared to most other places, and then playing on basically probably Sunday league level pitches. That's crazy. And that
was always the problem with Leeds. I think over that whole 16 years outside the Premier League, it was just like every team raised their game.
Because they knew they were playing at the ground.
It was their cup final, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And it was every single team as well. Even in the Championship, there's some big clubs in there, but it was, we've got Leeds. This is like the be all and end all. So it's hard when it's like that. And you can see how much they're reveling in it now, that they're not having that attitude from teams. And teams are turning up thinking, oh, they're newly promoted, we'll turn these over. It doesn't work that way.
No, exactly. So you see it now. But like obviously the Premier League is always the league Leeds should be in as a club, as an institution. But that League One, I just remember like you saw it every single week. You saw players just raise their game. Like you see it every week. It's crazy.
It must be great as well for players of other clubs in them divisions playing at Ellen Road and playing against Leeds United. And even when Leeds go to their place and take however many fans we were taking, they must be like, this is brilliant.
Creates atmosphere, and then you got like a flat surface, and then you got like you got obviously 25,000 fans, and usually your home stadium hosts 5,000 like fans. It's like going to Wembley every week for a lot of these, like a lot of players, and a lot of players in League One will never get to play at a stadium like that.
No, exactly.
So it's an opportunity, and I think those were like that was always the issue with Leeds. Teams used to just raise their game every single time. They wanted to beat. It was like a scalp to beat Leeds.
Yeah, a lot of them did. Bastards. And then, like you said, that sort of injury sort of scuppered your chances really, especially with a new manager coming in and that. Do you think that sort of spelt the end before you because you ended up playing under Grayson, but was he already looking elsewhere, do you think, because of not really getting the chance to see you or what you was about? And also, was you the same after that?
I got fit. Like I said, when I started pre-season, that second season at Leeds, it was like, obviously, like for me, it was like a blessing. I'm back on the field, back amongst the team, and obviously Simon Grayson, he had me as part of the squad, so I wasn't even I wasn't even angry about being on the bench so much. And I think that season we started unbelievably well. That second year. And like I think what happened was there was a big fallout with Simon Grayson and myself, because like there was one game, and I wasn't even I was so like I was just grateful that I was playing again. I wasn't even angry about being on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even like going knocking on the door saying I should be starting, all this kind of stuff. It wasn't even like that. It was just one game we were playing so bad. Like we were just so bad in the game, and I was itching to get on. I was like, I could offer something to the team, and he puts me on for 5 minutes. And then after the game, obviously when you're a sub, you're meant to do you go out and you do running or whatever. And I kind of lost my head a little bit I was just frustrated. Like I hadn't really played a game for it would have been probably 9 months or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was going on 9-10 months. And I was just frustrated, and I was just like, took my boots off, threw it down, and just said, like, I'm not doing the running. And then, so I go in the next day and I apologize to Simon Grayson. So I said, like, sorry, listen, I just lost my head. I was a bit frustrated. And then we just started having conversations. And then the conversation got to the point where it's like, I'm in my last year of my contract. And then it got to the point where Simon was like, oh, you're too close to the first team for me to let you go out on loan. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm not even forcing the issue. But then 2 weeks later, I think Becchio gets injured. I come on and I play against Charlton and we draw 0-0, and it's a horrible game. It's windy and all that kind of stuff. And then the next game after that, I'm not even in the squad completely. So that's when I knock on the door and I'm like, Simon, like 2 weeks ago, I'm too close to the first team for me to go out on loan, and now I'm in the stands. Like, what's going on? And he's like, yeah, you know, we just moving things around. We want to see different things, all this other kind of stuff. I said, okay, cool. But I think I'm coming up to the last 6 months of my contract. If I'm not in the plans, and I said, just be honest. I said, if I'm not in the plans, I'd rather go out on loan in January. That's what I said to him. And he's like, only if it's good enough, only if it's good reason for Leeds. And I was like, no, only if it's good for me. And then that's when we had a fallout. And then he was just like, and then after that, he literally just pied me off, made me train with the youth team, all that kind of stuff. But didn't tell me to my face. I come into the changing room, and Leon will probably tell you shit like stuff like this happened with him. Come into the changing room, all I see is my name on the board, says Enoch training as under 19. And then I would go into training in the morning, see the assistant manager, see the gaffer, like in the hallways, and it'd be like, good morning, but don't tell me nothing. And then I come out the changing room, all I see is like Enoch with under 19s. And then all of a sudden, so we get to our Christmas do, and the chairman's wife is there, and Ken Bates is there, and stuff like this. And so the chairman's wife goes to me, she's like, oh, I heard you were ill. And this is like this is like a year after the blood clot, right? She's like, I heard you were ill. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm not ill. What do you mean? She's like, I was hoping it's not swine flu. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm fine. I've been fit the whole season. And then she just walked away. she said something she shouldn't have said. And I was like, what's going on here? Like, this is like embarrassing. So I just like, and you must know, obviously Gwyn Williams was there in it, and he felt he ran the club. So I called him up, I think in January, and I was like, Gwen, like, sort it out, because they were like talking about cancelling my contract. I was like, all right, let's just sort it out. Let's get it done. I'm gonna move on. Let's get it done. And then that was it. And then the time at Leeds was over.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Talk about roller coaster. Gee.
Yeah, you know, it is crazy. And then you ended up leaving Leeds, and you went on to play for Falkirk in the SPL.
Yeah, so I actually had a few offers after leaving Leeds, and but I think I just felt like they wanted me the most, and I just kind of wanted to be away from everything, like and just concentrate on playing again. And it's funny because like the day I signed for Falkirk, they were like, "Oh, drive up to Scotland, and it's snowing." And it's like, just drive up the A1, just go straight up. You go all the way to Scotland. I'm like, I have to drive 15 miles an hour, 6 o'clock in the evening, pitch black, like in January. And I'm like, you know what? I think it's safer if I come in the morning. let me just come in the morning. They're like, no, come on, just drive up now. We want you in training tomorrow. And I'm driving like literally like 20 miles an hour up the A1, like going up from Leeds to Scotland. And I get there about two. I get there about 2 in the morning, and they're all waiting for me. The manager, the assistant manager, the chairman, they're all waiting for me in the hotel. And I was like, shit, these guys really wanted me.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, and the first game that weekend, I drove off on a Wednesday. First game was like Celtic away. I was like, yeah, cheers, mate. I haven't played for a year. I haven't played a full 90 minutes for a year.
Was you starting as well?
I was starting, yeah.
Oh, fuck. I was going to ask you about it because Matty is a Celtic boy. Mm-hmm. So playing there would sort of be your dream, wouldn't it, Matty?
Oh, yeah. Just even, I've been out, obviously I've been to the ground many times. My dad was Scottish, and I've got a bit of a dual allegiance with football, like Arsenal, my English team, Celtic on my Scottish team. But yeah, I just wanted to ask, like, what was that like, knowing that obviously the strength of Celtic? I don't know if you knew how big Celtic were as a club, but then to not play for that amount of time and then they chuck you straight in at like Parkhead, that must have been quite something. You ended up getting a draw, didn't you?
Yeah, it was 1-1. I think
that would have been a coupon buster for sure.
I think I set up the goal. There was like
really.
There was a point where I think at the time when I got to Falkirk, they had won 2 games all season.
Wow.
They had only won 2 games. So obviously they're fighting relegation, and it's like they only won 2 games. And we get Celtic Park, and I'm like looking around. I was like this is a museum. This is not a stadium. This is beautiful. Like, this is nice. Like, so it's so nice. And I was like, I think Robbie Keane was there at the time as well.
Yeah. He would have been. Yeah, he only. I think. Did he only? I think he only signed for a year. Keane, was it a year? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure it weren't more than a year. Maybe it was 2 years. I can't remember at the time, but yeah, he scored a few goals for sure.
Yeah, I remember he scored against us at our place at Falkirk, but I can't remember if he started that game. And obviously they had like Samaras, and I knew Scottish football, like I used to watch a bit on TV as a kid. So I knew like obviously Celtic, Rangers, but the pitch was huge. I'm like, they're playing me one up top by myself, and I'm just running for fun in that game.
Lost causes probably.
Yeah. But we did great, and we got the draw, and obviously
great result.
Yeah, great result, and everyone's happy moving forward. And for me, it gave me a space where it's like I'm just going to play football. Like I didn't put no pressure on myself to do anything. It was just like, okay, let me just enjoy playing the game again.
How long was you there for?
6 months.
Oh, okay.
Just to the end of that season, and obviously Falkirk got relegated. I only scored 1 goal, but probably the best goal of my career.
Oh, really?
Against Aberdeen, it was like a scissor kick.
I was hoping you was going to say Rangers. That's a shame.
Yeah. No, it was against Aberdeen, but it was interesting going up there because it's like I didn't realise. Obviously, they always compare obviously Scottish football to English football, and basically people say it's like League One, it's Championship type level, but it's your Premier League.
Yes.
So it's like I'm coming into a Premier League club. I'm in the back pages, big spread in the Scottish Sun. I'm in there's proper press conferences, not like League One where it's just like people just talk, put a microphone up your nose and then talk to you on the side of the pitch. This is like you're sitting down, you got the cameras, you got the board and everything. It's like proper press conferences. I was like, okay, this is a proper Premier League. So I didn't realize that side of of the game. I just assumed it was kind of like just playing in England, but it's like obviously your real Premier League. So it was a good experience up there. It was it's good. Like Rangers and Celtic, obviously huge clubs, and the stadiums are beautiful.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I've never been to Ibrox inside. I've been outside it a few times. It's a bit like Celtic, where it's kind of like in the middle of nowhere, and it has room to be built upon. Like they've been quite shrewd in location-wise, big size. But yeah, I mean, you must have noticed when you played. Did you play at Ibrox when you played there?
Yeah.
I mean, even the noise that they make is ridiculous. I mean, we up there the same as Leeds in terms of a power of supporting your team. If Celtic and Rangers were in the lower leagues here, they would still have like 40, 50,000. It wouldn't make any difference.
Falkirk pulled up to town and there was 50,000 in the stadium. So
yeah,
it's like it's a different ball game.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's mental, isn't it? And then upon leaving Falkirk, you went on to play for Tranmere, mate. Top scorer in your first season there, player of the season as well. What division were they in? Was they League One?
League One.
League One. I noticed as well a couple of names that was in the team back then. So you had Aaron Cresswell and Peter Gulaxi, the goalkeeper who plays for RB Leipzig now.
Yeah.
I always find it really weird.
That's a change of scenery, isn't it? Like Tranmere to Leipzig.
Well, exactly. Like he's sort of been playing.
That's why football's mental.
Champions League and all sorts. And I remember when I think he saved a penalty or something in the Champions League last season or the season before. And it come about that it was the same guy who was playing in the lower leagues in England and not even getting games for most of the clubs he was at.
He was on loan from Liverpool.
Oh, was he really?
He was at Liverpool. He was on loan, so he was like he come on loan. Obviously, Tranmere and Liverpool have a relationship, but he come on loan. But he was a great lad, goalkeeper. Didn't think he'd ever play Champions League semi-final and that, but you know, he's done brilliant for himself.
Just touching on touching on goalkeepers for a second. I mean, it's got to be the weirdest position to play ever. I mean, you take Emi Martinez at Arsenal. He went on loan 10 times. 10. Then he gets his opportunity with Villa, and he was probably their best player last year, bar Green. I mean, how do they spend so long being in the dark? Like mentally, I suppose it like what you would be like as a striker. If you get your chance, you just got to take it, haven't you? And just because when he came in for Leno at Arsenal, he was phenomenal. I thought he was going to keep Leno out the team, even when Leno got fit.
It's crazy because I think with firstly, I've never met a normal goalkeeper.
They're all mental. Yeah,
they are mental. But I think it's just one of the things. Is like if a manager comes in, and he's like, "You're my number one." It's the hardest position to change that.
Yes,
it's the hardest position, and then he's just like, obviously, if I want to play games, then I have to go on loan or I have to leave.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So it's just like it's literally the hardest positions I think in football to change the manager's mind about who's his number one.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, it is like you said. There's only one, isn't there? It's not like other teams or other positions. Sorry, where even you could have, if you're only playing one up top, most teams would at least probably substitute that player halfway, like into the second half or whatever.
Yeah, so you're getting some game time. Yeah,
exactly. Or change the formation slightly, put two up top. You can get in goal. Like you said, if you're the number one, you're in goal.
That must be a nightmare though, because if you've got a family and you're like kind of settled, like you said, you're going on loan for fun when you're a keeper, aren't you? Really? a lot of them are, I suppose. But like you just have to lit up sticks and just go wherever it is. Must be some journey while you're on it for sure.
Yeah, and I guess like you always get like number twos as well. That just they're always number two.
Yeah,
like they'll be number two for years. Like, and you see their stats, and they'll be like, I've been at Man United for like 15 years, but I played 2 games and that.
Richard Wright. I mean, he has nicked
Scott Carson.
I have never seen it, mate. I couldn't believe it when he was on the bench.
He played, didn't he? End of the season. Scott Carson from Man City.
I can't believe. I thought the guy was. I can't say I thought he was dead because that's a bit hard. But you know what I mean? He was when Arsenal were in like the Invincibles. Like he was part of all that, and then you just never heard of him. Yeah. And now he's at. How's he nicked that move? I want to know. His agent must be the best agent breathing.
We had it with Stuart Taylor, who was at Arsenal.
Yes, I remember him.
He was like number 2 at Arsenal for like fucking 10 years
he was,
or something. Yeah. And he came to Leeds, and he was always sort of like he had a bit about him. He's a good keeper.
Yeah.
He come to Leeds, and it was like, right, you're number 1, and he couldn't deal with it.
Nah, because he's probably so used to
not playing football,
not factoring in like the main sort of Yeah, #1 position.
Yeah. Like
he must have thought you just turn up to training, go home, sit on the bench on the Saturday like Christy. Like, I mean, I could deal with that. I could deal with that. Yeah. I'll take some of that. But yeah, that's crazy.
It's a decent job, really, sub goalie.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Not bad going.
Keeper.
And then following there, you ended up going on to Notts County. I heard that they actually made a couple of bids for you that were turned down beforehand. And I think it was Martin Allen who was bidding for you at the time. And then you ended up joining them after he'd left. You must have been quite relieved with that you didn't have to play under Martin Allen with some of the stories about him.
I've heard too many crazy stories. I actually never met the guy. When I left Bristol, when I left Luton, he was at MK Dons and he wanted to sign me, but they was in League 2. And I was like, I can't go down 2 leagues. Like when I left Luton, so I was like, but I spoke to him on the phone and he wouldn't let me get a word in edgeways. He's just like, I was like, can I say something? And he's just like, out of courtesy, you have to go meet the chairman. So I drive over to MK to meet the chairman and stuff like that. His beautiful house and all this kind of stuff. But he wouldn't let me get a word in. But I just heard so many like just unbelievable stories about this guy.
He's brilliant.
I don't know if it's true or not, but like it has to be because I get it from too many people.
Well, we've had a couple of people that have played under him, and I always bring it up to him, like tell us some fucking Martin Allen stories. And there's been some blinders, and we had Dean Lewington on from MK Dons, and he told us one where to get like the players' partnerships a bit like so him and his centre back partner, for example, they was at like this fucking hotel before a game, and there was a wedding that they were setting up for, so the DJs and everything were getting all set up, and he's basically took all the players in there and he's got the DJ playing music, and they all had to go up in pairs and slow dance.
Oh,
so like centre backs, you've all got to slow, like you two go, it's your turn, slow dance. The strikers, like centre midfielders, and it's like, are you fucking sure? And he was deadly serious, like, no, you do it. And I basically run a few other stories by Dean Lewington, and he said any story that you hear about him is 100% true. He said he's fucking mental. Funny. Like any story you've heard from any player, he said it will be true because he's just mad.
It's too funny. It's like they did bid, but I was like, Tranmere didn't accept, and then they let me go on a free the next year, which didn't make much sense. But you know, doesn't make much business sense. But whatever.
Strange, isn't it? Bit of a weird one there. And while you were there, I've been sort of told I've got to run this by you because I've got a couple of mates that are Plymouth fans, and they've been pestering me for God knows how long. That when are you getting someone who's played for Plymouth on? Blah blah blah. So you've played for Plymouth. So you went on loan to Plymouth.
I kind of played for Plymouth.
What was it like at Plymouth at that time? Because was the club a bit sort of in all the financial trouble that they was in? Was that when you went there?
No, I don't think it was in financial trouble. It was a weird one. So like, firstly, like Notts County made me want to retire from playing the game.
Really?
Notts County, because they were just like, we want to sell you. No, we want to keep you. No, you're not for sale. No, we're going to keep you. No, we're going to we're going to pay you up. We got 9 months left, so we're going to pay you 2 months of your contract. Yeah, good one, makes sense. All that kind of stuff. So I was like, and then when I got playing again, and I have 3 different managers in 2 years at Notts County. And when I started playing again, all of a sudden it's like I get dropped out of the team, and then it's like, oh, you should go Torquay on loan. And then I go Torquay on loan, and this is the first time I've gone to League 2 in my career. And so like, so I go to Torquay on loan for a month. I'm in a bed and breakfast. It's like end of the earth. Even on your day off, I can't even get back to London or back to Nottingham, whatever. It's like 5-hour drives. It's like, what's the point? And then like they say they're going to renew my contract at the end of that month for the last month of that season, and then they don't, and then Plymouth comes in last minute, and I'm like, what's happening here? This football thing is like it's just embarrassing. So and then I get no calls from Torquay, even though I'm stuck in a bed and breakfast in Torquay, just waiting for them to say, okay, like we're going to send the paperwork to sign, and they don't say nothing to me, like zero, like don't even call me, nothing. And then Plymouth come in, and then I end up signing for Plymouth. I go to Plymouth under John Sheridan, and then he's like, he doesn't want to play me at all, like zero, nothing. Like, I'm I'm like,
why loan you then?
I didn't get it. I think they had a couple of injuries or whatever. But so I play one game when one guy suspended. I think there's like Newport away, and like when you're playing with, every trip is far. Like every trip is far. So we're at Newport, and like I think we drew 1-1 or something. It's like one crappy game, but I just played and did all right or whatever. Then just sat on the bench for the rest of the season. And like my birthday's in April, right? And this is how much I was done. I was literally done with football. So I go after a game, I say, Gaffer, can I have a word? Before I say anything, he's like, you're starting next week. I'm like, I don't even want to start. It's literally 2 games left of the season. I was like, I don't even want to start.
Yeah, drop me out.
It's my birthday on Wednesday. Can I just take the week off? I want to go to London, spend it with my family. He's like, yeah, sure, come in Thursday, no problem. Cool. So I come in on Thursday, and then obviously the game's on Saturday, and he says, obviously, I'm starting. So I start. In the team talk, before the game, he's like, you're coming off after 60 minutes. So I'm like, no matter how the game goes, I'm coming off after 60 minutes.
What?
I was like, I'm done with football.
I've never heard of anything so ridiculous.
So what if you bagged 2 goals then, and you're on hat-trick?
Or if it's 0-0 and you score in the 59th minute and he's hooking you, nah, that don't make no sense.
Yeah, so no matter how the game goes, I'm coming off after 60 minutes. And true to his word, he dragged me after 60 minutes. Like,
what was the thinking? Like, did he explain what the thinking was behind it? Just
No.
Did you have some clause in your loan or something that said we must take the geezer off after 60 minutes?
No, it was the strangest thing, and I was just like, I literally at that point, I was just like, I am literally done.
Leave me alone.
I'm done with football.
I'm going back to London.
Football's silly. Football's like it's stupid, like real stupid. And then it'll be like we'll be doing 5-a-side in training all the time. Like usually they're playing 4-4-2. All of a sudden he'll drop a 3-5-2 in, and then we start shouting on the sideline saying like, what are you doing? It's like, but we didn't do no tactics in training. Like, what do you mean? The players, maybe they don't know. Like, it was just insane. So I was like literally done. Like at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm washing my hands. Football's done for me. It's like it's tiring now.
Yeah. You've had your time.
It gave me 12 years. So like all like fun up and downs and all that kind of stuff. So. Torquay and Plymouth, they put me on the end of the country, and there's like,
that was the end of it.
The end, it's the end. Literally.
Madness, isn't it? And then you did go on to play for some non-league clubs, Wealdstone, Canvey Island, and that. Did you ever meet the Wealdstone Raider for one?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's killed me.
He's absolutely. But even with that, so it's like I remember that summer because like because I did my master's in finance, so I started doing a few other bits and bobs outside of the game, and then it gets to November time, and then like someone calls me up and says, "Listen, Enoch, you're in London. Like Wealdstone's around the corner. The gaffer at Wealdstone's been there 15 years. He wanted to sign you." All those years ago before I went to Luton Town, all that kind of stuff. And then I go there, I go training, start training 2 times a week. I hadn't trained for like 3 months. So I was like, you know what, I was just sitting down, eating popcorn and sweets on my sofa, like not worried about busting off in pre-season. And then like, so I go in and he's like, oh, you're not fit. And I was like,
no shit.
No. But I was literally like, so you just need to play me and I'll get fit in games and stuff. Didn't want to play me, so I was like, oh, this is boring then. I'm not coming to not play. And then I ended up, I think I went to Mansfield for a week because Mansfield was looking at players, and I said, you know what, it was like November time, I'll go up and I'll train at Mansfield for a week. The manager did like saying, yeah, me and the chairman, we're like this, we're so tight. Like he will never sack me. A week later, he's gone. I'm like, football, I'm really done with football. So I come back down to like Wealdstone. I said to Gaffer, look, I've been a week training at a pro club, just play me in it. He didn't want to play me. So I was like, you know what, I'm done. So I went over to play at, Canvey Island, because I had like a couple of people I knew out there, and I was just like, I'm just going to have some fun and play out there.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Football's been a bit like Disneyland for you, isn't it? It's like you've heard some proper Mickey Mouse stories and carry on. Oh.
It's insane.
I'm getting annoyed at your situation more than you are. I can't believe it.
No, like obviously during the time with it was like just at the time it was like obviously I wasn't laughing about some of those situations.
Oh no,
with it, but
sure.
yeah.
And now you look
But
back.
now it's stupid. Like I remember even there was a time at Leeds where Simon Grayson was the gaffer. We've travelled away. He's put a team sheet in, and they said they forgot to put my name in, and so the ref said we can't add your name now. So I wasn't even on the bench. And I was like, is this professional football? Is this serious?
Yeah.
Like, is this actually serious?
This is Leeds United. It's not like...
Leeds, yeah. I was like, but I'm saying you've done that on purpose. There's no way you've forgotten, because there's like 16, at the time, there's like 16 lines. So if there's one line missing, you haven't put someone's name there on purpose, right?
Yeah, you'd be like, right, who's missing?
Who's not there?
So I was just like, this is stupid. Like, just say what, like, why you want to do that, those kind of stupid things. It doesn't make sense. Like, if you want to leave me out, but just be honest about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are clowns. Like, I just got changed, showered, whatever.
It looks like it's a common theme in football in that era, that these managers just didn't have, either they didn't have the bollocks, or they were just arseholes not to tell you to your face that you're not playing. As a player, you're surely going to respect a manager a lot more if they just be honest with you. We've had it, it's a running theme across all the podcasts and the players that we've had on.
Mm-hmm.
Players want honesty. The time span in a career is short.
Yeah.
If you're not in the frame, or you're not going to get a look in, just tell me and then I'll fuck off elsewhere. Like, just
exactly,
yeah.
But what does it cost for them to be honest? They want you hanging around the first team, in and around, but they don't want to play you, but they need you as a backup striker just in case Mr. X gets injured or whatever.
Yeah. But it doesn't make sense anyway, because it's like, if you want like a team with like that camaraderie, because some players like don't get me wrong, some players are happy to sit on the bench at Leeds United.
I can believe that.
They're happy to sit on the bench. Like I even had a conversation with Gary McAllister. I think he was trying to bring in Malcolm Christie. We played a reserve game together. I set up 2 goals, but Malcolm Christie hadn't played for 2 years. Gary McAllister wanted to bring him in for whatever reason. And then so I had a conversation with Gary McAllister, and he was like moving the goalposts. He said, I want to see this and this from you. So I did this and this in the reserve game. We have a conversation after a reserve game. He's like, but I wanted to see that and that from you. I said, don't move the goalpost. And he's like,
look at what you told me to do.
Yeah. And then I was like, look at all the facilities and did it. I said, Gary, no disrespect, but I'd rather be at a shit club with shit facilities and play every week than be at Leeds twiddling my fingers. Like, I didn't come in the game for this. Yeah. But there's a lot of players that will just be happy to sit on the bench,
especially nowadays. United, the money that's involved in the game.
Oh God, yeah.
You got to wonder what these young kids. You can see how they can go off the rails. You could be on 50, 60, 70, even 80K a week now, sitting on a bench.
But if you look at someone, even like Chelsea, like the Chelsea, all these youth players, they haven't even played 100 league games and they're millionaires. Like,
They've got the most lone players in the football league, haven't they? They've got like 40 odd players at other clubs on loan.
I think last season they had something like 60 odd.
That's
just
ridiculous.
That what's his name's got to be the classic one. That Marco van Ginkel, whatever his name is. Yeah. They bought him for millions, and the fucker never played once. I don't think. I don't even remember him playing.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's just an endless list at that club of players like that.
Yeah. And it's just that I didn't like. I was always like, you know what? I just want to play, so I don't care about going to a crappy club. I'll get changed in a porter cabin, because that's what I grew up doing when I was 18 and 21. Cold showers, all that kind of stuff. Freezing my fingers up, putting the nets up, like, so I did that. So I'd rather go back and play every week. So.
Being 6'5", you'd have been first fucking Enoch. You're on nets, mate.
Yeah,
100%. When they get them little like them chairs that are not stable enough for anybody to stand on, and the short guys try to put up the net.
Yeah,
because it's fair, isn't it? It's fair that everyone has to like help and that.
That's it.
You're standing on the sidelines at 6'5", going, "All right, lads, that's good." How's that
to the left? Well, that sort of brings us up to where you're at now, which we touched on before the we went through your career. But just to sort of bring everything to an end, I've just got a list of questions, like quick fire questions, if you like, really, just based on your career as a whole.
Cool.
So the first one is best player you've ever played with. There's
a lot. there's a lot of good players I played with. I'll probably say Jack Grealish.
Really? Where was that at?
Yeah. Notts County.
No way. Did he go on loan, did he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
18 years old.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that, no.
Yeah, unbelievable.
How old would he have been?
When he was there? He must have been really
18,
young.
18.
Jesus.
Where was he playing? Sort of attacking midfield?
Yeah, like more off the left or like off the left midfield. But he was like, even in training, like you couldn't get the ball off him at that age. He's like exactly the same as he plays now. And I always just thought we had Callum McGregor as well. Obviously, he came on today for Scotland. Like Callum McGregor's output in that season at Notts, he scored more goals. But Jack Grealish as a talent, like you could just see it. Like you couldn't get the ball off it. And you always knew if he just upped his output, he was going right to the top.
Yeah. Did he hit the deck as often as he does now back then, or?
Yeah, he was always, even in training. Like obviously, he comes in 18 years old on loan from Villa, and he's like dribbling past all the senior pros. He was getting clapped every day. Like he was just like everyone was just going through him. And he would just jump up. He would just jump up, get on the ball again, and do it again.
Just cannot get over the size of the geezer's calves.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Even back then, it was the same. He used to roll his socks down the same. Exactly.
What does he feed his calves? He must be doing leg day every day to get them calves.
They don't roll his socks down. They just can't get pulled up.
Yeah, no, they can't get past the calves.
You're trying to get them up. They're just stuck halfway.
That's mental.
Who's the best player you played against?
I played against like Steven Gerrard, unbelievable. Ibrahimovic.
Oh shit!
Like,
I think Ibrahimovic is like, he impressed me probably the most.
Yeah.
Still banging in goals at 39, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a specimen, isn't he?
Yeah, because he was like 6'5", and he was when he was at Ajax as well, so he was like young.
Yeah.
And obviously he came off the bench, and I was at Luton Town at the time, and obviously we have centre backs, like British centre backs, my size, love to head the ball, and he was just like, bro, don't move, catching it on his chest. Like had feet, and I was just like, this guy is unbelievable. Like,
he's got some ball control for a big fella. Like the things he can do is phenomenal.
Freakish talent.
Yeah.
Who would you say is the most underrated player you played with?
Underrated. There was a kid. I forgot his name now. How can I forget his name? We sat on the bench many a time together at Leeds.
What position was he?
He was like a striker, like a number 10. He was an American kid.
Mike Greller.
Yes, Mike Greller.
Talent, mate.
Unbelievable talent.
How's your Leeds knowledge there? Right. Bench.
And also I'll give another shout for like Andre Boucard. He's at Trinidad and Tobago International, but unbelievable talent. Should have probably gone to play that higher level.
Leon said him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Andre Boucard.
Unbelievable.
Leon said. Yeah, Mike Greller was fucking quality, mate.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted him to play more games than he did.
I just think his talent wasn't suited for League One.
Yeah, no, you're right, actually. Yeah. Who would you say is the worst trainer?
There's a few of those. Worst trainer. I'm gonna go Andy Robinson. He's at Leeds.
Yeah. That shows in his physique, to be fair. He's built like me.
Great player though.
He was good, mate. Yeah, he was
very,
at
very
Swansea
good.
and all.
Mm-hmm.
Did he go to Tranmere as well?
Yeah, we played at Tranmere together.
Yeah, I remember it.
He was, when I came to Leeds, he was one of those guys that was training with the youth teams. Like I wasn't allowed in the first team changing room.
Another one binned off. Hardest player you played with?
Hardest player I played with. I want to say hard, like I wouldn't say he was hard, but he was like he was a little bitch to play with, like for opposition, and then when you're against him, it's like Michael Doyle.
Oh yeah.
He wasn't hard. Like
he's only little, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he's just like he'll kick you, he'll scratch you, he'll do all that stupid shit like that, like that little rats do, isn't it? Like So like, I wouldn't say hard, but he was like, yeah, he was just annoying. Like he would annoy the opposition, and then like I remember playing against him. I think he's probably one of the only players that made me want to hit him. Like playing against him.
He's still going now as well. He's at Notts County, isn't he? He's still.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, still going.
Fair play to
him. Hardest player you've played against?
Hardest player definitely Martin Keown. That was a friendly.
Of the Arsenal. Cool.
He was an like, animal.
I megged him in a friendly one time, innit? And he just started elbowing me, kicking me, like everything. I was like, bro, this is a friendly. Like
he looks like a horrible bastard, to be fair.
Yeah, he was.
I'll never ever forget when Van Nistelrooy missed that penalty. He was in his face. It still kills me to this day. I can watch that clip and cry because our rivalry with them at that time was mad. Team Vieira situation. Lauren used to throw his 10 pence in. Ray Parlour was all over it as well. And it was just so funny just seeing him doing that.
It was hilarious.
When he missed. Honestly,
Nistelrooy's all like this.
I hated Van Nistelrooy because he was so good. When we used to play against him, he was just a problem all the time. But yeah, Keown was just filth. Yeah,
he's a problem, mate. He was a fucking lump though, wasn't he?
Massive.
Yeah. Biggest diva?
Our biggest diva? Let me think. I'll say off the field, probably not on it, but probably like a Lee Trundle.
Oh really?
He's not really a diva, but he's like he's always got a nice tan, like he's always on a sunbed. He's doing it. Yeah.
Teeth whitening, got his sunbed on, and he loves it.
He had some ability, the skills that
again, another player, unbelievable.
I never forget when he rolled the ball across his neck during that game. I mean, you just don't see that.
I'd have walked off if I was playing for the other team.
I mean,
that's me. See you later.
Like with the penalties that he takes, when he makes you think he's taking it with one foot and he does it with the other, and he just like toe punts it into the goal.
Did you see that when he went down to pick the ball up?
Yeah, and then he scores. Wales. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. What
That's
a player.
Joke. Funny man.
Funny. I give Andy Robinson he was a bit of a clown in and around the change room. He's always down to. He's like he can never be serious. Even when he's with the youth team and like training youth team in Leeds. Like he was never like. He was never serious. He was never down. He was just like he's always got a bit of like banter about him as well.
That's brilliant. Typical Scouser. I think he's a Scouser, isn't he?
Yeah.
They all love it, don't they?
Yeah, big time. Which manager was the best player when they took part in training?
Not many did, but I have to give it to Gary McAllister because I remember. There was a point where it's just like I think he joined in training and he's like wanting us to do certain things, and he just said, "Why can't you just do this?" And he just pulled it out and just sprayed a 60-yard pass like on a penny. So
he was a great player.
Yeah, he could play a bit. I'll give him that. Better player than he was a manager, but we'll let him have it. Based on initiation songs at different clubs you've been at, who was the best singer?
Best singer.
Before you answer, Leon Constantine said it's him. He said he.
So I know Leon, but I never played in the same team as him.
Oh, did you not? Fair play.
So when he left Leeds, I actually rented his apartment in Leeds.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So yeah, we never actually crossed paths in terms of playing together. So I never heard him sing. So I may ask him like.
I was going to say, can you back up his statement?
Best singer, maybe Just Labadie. I'll give it to Just Labadie.
Oh, really?
He's having himself as well, so you know.
Oh, he fancies himself, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And the next one's a bit of a double-edged question, so you can take it however you want. Biggest dick you ever played with?
Probably Ian Goodison, Tranmere.
Ian Goodison. I don't know what way you've answered it.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of the question.
It is. Yeah.
You won't know, but Enoch's got a big smile on his face, so.
It's great if they ever watch it and they think it's one way. Fucking get in. It's actually the other. That's the best one. And the last one is, who are your close mates within the game, and can you get them on the podcast for us?
Network special.
Got to be done.
Obviously, I speak to Leon quite a bit. Obviously, he's been on already.
Top man, Leon.
Yeah, he's a top guy. He's probably one of the most I speak to the most. Obviously, there's like players like Snod, there's Lucas Akins at Tranmere. There's a few boys that I keep in contact. Every now and again there's a conversation. Akin Fenwell came out in Miami for a bit, so I was looking after him in Miami.
No way.
Try not to get him into trouble too much out here, you know. So yeah, there's a few boys.
He's a proper character, isn't he?
Like I never played with him either. He's another player I never played with, but we just played against each other so many times. And I remember like years ago, he'd be like, "Bro, you're getting bigger." I was like, "Bro, how could you be saying that to me?"
Strongest man on FIFA.
Still can't believe he can play football at the size he is.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
He's so hench. It's stupid. How can he get around a pitch like?
And he's got bigger as he's filled out even more.
I wonder what he's going to do. Like when he retires, is he going to be one of these that just goes double big and gets full into his weights, or what?
I give him his due though, because I follow him on Snapchat, I think, and he's always on the cardio as well. Something that might shock people because he's generating some sweat, the geezer. I see him on the bike or on a treadmill, and he proper puts in the cardio. Well, you'd have to be able to play that level of football at his age.
Must be such hard work, because the muscle obviously is harder to it takes a lot more oxygen, doesn't it? So
you can see the dedication he's put into his craft is unbelievable. To keep that level, keep going and going and going and going. That is
fair play to him.
He's playing in the championship this year, wasn't he?
Had a great career.
Yeah, unbelievable, mate. Yeah, he's class, Bayo. I love him. But yeah, that sort of brings the episode to a close, mate. So just want to say I really appreciate you coming on, Enoch.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
It was a pleasure, mate.
It's been good to reminisce.
Thank you, mate. And for everyone who's watching on YouTube, make sure you slap a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. And for the audio listeners of the podcast, make sure you rate and review and share it as well. But until next time, guys, all the best.
Take it easy, guys.